There's a moment in every great rivalry when one side simply stops showing up. And in 2026, that's exactly what happened between BMW and Mercedes. Not on a racetrack, not in a comparison test, in a boardroom, where someone finally had the courage to admit they got it completely wrong. Let me take you back to 2022. Mercedes-AMG unveiled the new C63, and the automotive world went quiet. Not from awe, from shock. Because under that aggressive hood, where a howling, thundering 4.0-liter V8 once lived, the engine that defined two generations of one of the greatest performance sedans ever built, there was a 2.0-liter four-cylinder. 4 cylinders in a C63. It felt like finding out your favorite rock band had replaced their guitarist with a DJ. Technically impressive, maybe, but completely missing the soul. Mercedes tried to soften the blow. They gave it 671 combined horsepower through a plug-in hybrid system. They gave it all-wheel drive, a 9-speed transmission, and all the right numbers on paper. The CEO stood up and compared it to the transition from physical buttons to touchscreen phones, basically telling fans that they'd come around just like they did with smartphones. That quote did not go over well, and the public voted with their wallets. Cars started sitting on dealer lots, unsold, weeks turning into months. The AMG boss later admitted quietly, almost embarrassingly, that they had lost customers. Meanwhile, across town in Munich, BMW was watching all of this unfold, and they did something radical. Absolutely nothing. The 2026 BMW M3 carries a 3-liter twin-turbocharged inline-six. It produces 503 horsepower in competition trim. It weighs 3,890 pounds. It offers a 6-speed manual transmission, one of the last sports sedans on the planet that still does. And it drives, by every account from every journalist who has sat behind its wheel, like a car that genuinely wants to communicate with the person driving it, not manage them, not process inputs through layers of hybrid software. Actually talk to them through the steering wheel, through the seat, through the sound of that engine climbing toward its red line. Now here's the number that tells the whole story. The Mercedes C63, with 671 horsepower, runs 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. The BMW M3 Competition xDrive, with 503 horsepower, runs 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. 1/10 of a second. That's the return on investment for 168 extra horsepower and 780 additional pounds of battery weight. 1/10 of a second that you will never feel. Not in traffic, not on a highway on-ramp, not even on a racetrack. Because at the point where that extra power should matter, the weight has already taken it away. And then, in February 2026, it became official. Mercedes-AMG CEO Michael Sheeby sat down with Edmunds and confirmed what the rumors had been saying for months. The 4-cylinder C63 is dead. Not updated, not revised, gone. The official reason given was that the 4-cylinder engine cannot be made compliant with incoming Euro 7 regulations, which is true and also slightly ironic because the whole reason Mercedes gave us a 4-cylinder was to meet tighter environmental standards. They built a car to satisfy regulators, and the regulators still weren't satisfied. The car failed at its own purpose. What comes next is a model called the C53, inline-six engine, no hybrid system, around 443 horsepower, lighter, simpler, more honest. And gone is the name C63, a badge that carried 30 years of history, 2 legendary V8 generations, and the kind of reputation that takes decades to build, and apparently only 2 model years to damage. The C63 name, at least in its current form, will not survive 2026. So what does the 2026 M3 actually feel like to live with? Starting at $79,300 for the base manual rear-wheel drive car and climbing to $88,600 for the Competition xDrive, which is coincidentally the most popular configuration. This is a car that gives you options. You want the pure, analog, connected experience, manual gearbox, rear-wheel drive, you and the machine working together. You want the fastest, most capable version for all conditions, Competition xDrive, 3.4 seconds to 60 in all-season confidence. The interior is modern without being cold. The M-specific seats hold you in place during spirited driving, but remain livable on a 2-hour highway stretch. The iDrive infotainment system is genuinely excellent now, responsive, logical, and not trying to replace your judgment. The heated steering wheel is newly standard for 2026. Small thing, appreciated detail. On the road, the M3 rewards patience. It isn't trying to impress you in the first 30 seconds. It builds. The more you ask of it, the more it gives back. The steering communicates road texture in a way that most modern cars have tuned out entirely. The chassis balance, with that front-engine, rear-drive layout, means you can feel the weight shift, feel the grip loading up, feel exactly where the limits are before you approach them. That's not a common experience in 2026. That's increasingly rare. And it matters more now than it ever did, precisely because everything around it is moving in the opposite direction. BMW's next M3, the G84 generation, arriving around 2028, will keep the 6-cylinder, but reportedly drop the manual gearbox and possibly move to all-wheel drive only, which means the car you can buy today, this 2026 M3 with 3 pedals and rear-wheel drive, may be the last of its exact kind. The last M3 where you choose every gear yourself, where the connection between your input and the car's response is unfiltered, direct, and completely yours. That's a remarkable position to be in, to win a rivalry not by building the most powerful car, not by chasing the biggest numbers, but by staying true to what made the car worth caring about in the first place. Mercedes gambled that performance car buyers wanted a hybrid 4-cylinder future. BMW gambled that they still wanted to feel something when they drove. One of those bets just paid off in a way that nobody in Stuttgart saw coming. The C63 is dead. The M3 is very much alive. And if you've ever considered owning one, there may never be a better time than right now.